On the coast of New Jersey are some of the finest beaches to be found anywhere in the world.
When it comes to summer getaways, the Jersey Shore has always been frickin' amazing. Woo! From then to now, you can find it all at this ultimate vacation destination. Whether you're going for obvious draws like action-packed Atlantic City or the laid-back vibe of Long Beach Island. From what folks eat to how they dance, there are definitely lots of differences between the Jersey Shore of yesteryear and the shore today.
Everyone's grinding up on each other. It's practically like you're having sex on the dance floor.
We'll compare the bikinis and the beaches, surfboards and boardwalks, as well as fun pier attractions that have gone from crazy stunts then to gravity-defying excitement now. With all that has changed through the years, this was and still is the place to be for young and old, singles and family.
This is the real Jersey Shore.
Then and now.
Bada bing, bada bang.
This is a time for leisure, a time to enjoy the summer sun and the informality of the beach.
One particularly amazing thing about the Jersey Shore is that it's easy to find just the vacation experience you want. From the timeless Victorian charm lining the quaint beaches of Cape May to the fast-paced action of its nearby South Jersey neighbor, Atlantic City. Perhaps you want to skip the boardwalks and piers entirely for a more laid-back vibe, halfway between the North and South Shore on Long Beach Island.
Best beach I've ever been to, hands down.
Whatever the flavor, whether it's great beaches, great food, or exciting attractions, thousands of vacationers mix annually with year-round locals in shore towns like Wildwood, Long Branch, Point Pleasant, and even the town currently at the center of the pop culture universe because of MTV's Jersey Shore, Seaside Heights. There's truly something for everyone.
The spacious boardwalk is always a center of activity with many interesting stands and concessions to be examined. An invitation to tour the boardwalk is eagerly accepted. The amusement areas are waiting.
There's just nowhere in America where the boardwalk is as much a part of the cultural fabric as the Jersey Shore. This beachside institution was invented in Atlantic City way back in 1870 to keep people from dragging sand into hotels along the beach. In the years since, Atlantic City's famed boardwalk has somewhat given up center stage to its sprawling casinos. But fortunately, numerous other Jersey boardwalks line the 127 miles of sandy coast. And it's a pretty safe bet that you'll eventually find a big, colorful dose of modern-day Jersey pride on every one of them.
Everyone says it's the armpit of America or whatever, but I like it a lot. You know, Jersey's good.
From then to now, the 28 boardwalks of the shore have provided men, women, and children with colorful amusement, exciting nightlife, incredible people watching, and of course, you just can't mention the Jersey Shore without getting a craving for some of its unique boardwalk treats.
The crisp night air on the boardwalk whets the appetite. A variety of foods prepared before your eyes do much to contribute to the enjoyment of eating on the boardwalk. There's a selection to please every taste.
Hi, can I help you? Hi, how are you doing today?
Good. It's actually so hot out. I need to get an orange and vanilla swirl. It's
You
my
got
favorite.
it. In cone or cup?
In a cone, please.
Cone? We get people come up and they'll ask us what the difference is between ice cream and frozen custard. Frozen custard is a very rich ice cream and it has egg yolks in it and it makes it for a very rich ice cream.
I come here every year.
Yeah?
I always have to come here.
We've been here before there was a boardwalk and we're very much a part of the history of the Jersey Shore.
My parents got me hooked, actually. They came here first.
We still make the hard ice cream in the machine like my grandfather used to use when he made it back in the old days. This machine's older than I am right now, and it still works great. Is this your first time to Seaside?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I used to go to Wildwood, but it's the first time I'm in Seaside. And the next time I come down, I'm getting the orange cream.
All right.
Without a doubt.
And we sell more of the orange cream, which is an orange sherbet with the vanilla custard mixed together. It was 15 cents a cone when they went to Coney Island back in 1920.
Now a hot dog is $5 down there.
People from New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, from all over come to us for this.
The best ice cream I've had all day. I eat a lot of junk food and ice cream, so.
Well, this is more healthy for you. You get your calcium with it.
How many calories?
You, you don't have to worry about it.
Many of the candies are made right on the premises and are not only delicious, but are beautifully packaged and displayed in clean, well-lighted shops.
Welcome to the Crust and Crumb Bakery in Beach Haven, home of the elephant ear since 1966. Everybody comes to the shore, they have to get an elephant ear and walk through the village.
Everybody thinks they're sticky buns because they start out like a little roll of cinnamon, but then you roll them out and they become these big round elephant ears. So I used to watch them rolling the ears. It's so much fun.
All the kids come around, family members. It's like a peace cookie, kind of. Brings them together. It has them something to talk about, eat, you know, hang out with. And then, like, the little ones you'll see, if they get a few of them, they'll come stand on the bench. And we'll usually, like, you know, throw some sugar at them or something and make them giggle.
We will refill this case so many times throughout a day. You know, constantly be rolling them in the back, constantly getting racks out and filling up this case, keeping it looking nice.
The elephant ear was the top 10 beach foods in the world last year.
Like 3 or 4 of them at a time. So tempting.
We have a lot of families come in like, oh, my grandma used to eat these and now I eat them. So they've really been around a while and a lot of people enjoy them, you know, throughout generations.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Visiting a premier coastal destination like the shore also means getting some great seafood, whether deep fried on the boardwalk or fresh when you catch it yourself.
The fishing is good at Seaside Heights, too. Every day, both young and old occupy themselves with crabbing. Some use a simple hand line with bait tied to a string. The technique of others is somewhat more elaborate, but both are effective.
85 degrees, I mean, nothing beats coming out to Jersey to crab.
This is the best crabs in New Jersey. Every year we come to this spot and we always catch the crabs. And I never saw crabs in my life in Russia. Like, we never even know what the crab is.
We actually come down here every year.
We've been crabbing about 10 years.
It's my first time here. I don't really want to touch the fish.
Now, when it comes to the catch on the other end, she's probably the smart one, because the famous blue claw crabs found at the Jersey Shore will definitely touch back.
No, don't put your hands in this, because I'll have a party. See what I mean? Yeah.
On every dock of the bay down the shore, the way to catch crabs really hasn't changed, but the rules of crabbing are a little different from 50 years ago. For instance, now you can only keep the crabs if they're 4.5 inches or longer. But even a few rule changes today haven't stopped these tasty little critters from taking the bait.
People so nice, and we never leave without a crab.
Got about 40 today and a half a day. We ended up hooking a sand shark, about 2.5, 3 feet.
I think I got over 30 in here, and I don't even eat them.
Well, whatever your pleasure, there's always something delicious to eat at the Jersey Shore.
Good day at the shore, they all cling.
All in all, there are 50-plus communities along the shore, meaning you're pretty much guaranteed to find paradise. Although nowadays, sitting in traffic on the Garden State Parkway can only affectionately be described as hell. And that's thanks to the legions of visitors who jam the exits accessing the Jersey Shore's 200-plus beaches. Many come from the New York and Philadelphia metro areas, both only about a half hour or so away from the north and south ends of the shore. Proximity to these massive urban centers has influenced the shore's mix of residents and vacation home renters over the years, leading to some key north-south differences.
The first thing you have to remember when you come to the Jersey Shore, there's a big difference between the North Shore and the South Shore. When the tourists are coming down, we call them shoebies here in South Jersey. I think they call them bennies up north.
Oh, yeah, we get called bennies all the time from my friends down here.
If you don't know what benny is, it's Bayonne Elizabeth, Newark, New York is what it stands for.
Down South Jersey, it's all shoebies. I guess they all came carrying shoe boxes to the beach.
One of the biggest differences is who our sports teams are.
Hey, in the North Shore, it's all about Yankees, Giants, New York teams.
Guys, the Yankees or the Phillies?
Phillies!
The Eagles or the Giants?
Eagles!
The Flyers or the Devils?
Flyers!
We like our hoagies, not our subs. We like our water ice, not our Italian ice.
Up on Main Street, get a nice, soft Italian ice. It's really good.
In South Jersey, we like our pork roll, not our Taylor ham.
Everybody knows Taylor ham. It's not pork roll. I don't know where they come up with this stuff.
But at the end of the day, it's all the Jersey Shore, and it's a great place to be in the summertime.
Surfing is huge at the Jersey Shore today, but 50 years ago? Not so much.
At that time, I never saw a surfboard on Long Beach Island. And people would come down and say, well, what's that? And I would tell them it's a surfboard.
What shore destination holds the distinction of being the oldest seaside resort town in the United States? Is it A, Atlantic City, B, Belmar, C, Long Branch, or D, Cape May? Find out after the break.
This is the Jersey Shore, then and now.
Here, on a narrow neck of land, nestled between the Atlantic Ocean and the quiet waters of Barnegat Bay, is Seaside Heights, the town that fun built.
And the beaches of the Jersey Shore stay so fun because of the ever-present Beach Patrol, whose duties have traditionally forced them to be a more conservative bunch than the laid-back vacationers they're sworn to watch over. Today, these samurai of the surf are as vigilant as ever, just with a little more sunblock.
We wore the unitards up until last year. We liked it though. It was sort of like a throwback for us, and it was original to our beach patrol. But if you're asking me personally, I like the leotards. I wanted to keep them.
I like shirtless. You get a nice, better tan.
By the 20s, the sweet, shy, helpless girl was disappearing, along with feathered hats and billowing curves. Girls hadn't thinned down much as yet, but everybody was on a diet to get that boyish figure. My, how chassis have changed.
From then to now, fun in the sun and the sand has always been a major part of the Jersey Shore experience. But spending your summers in that elevated lifeguard perch offers a unique vantage point from which to observe the changing trends. For one thing, the beachwear sported by incoming tourists and fashion-forward young ladies has clearly evolved over the years.
Starting to turn into more of like a worldwide place. So, I mean, we're getting men in thongs walking around. We're getting a lot of topless people.
I've seen girls bathing suits that say, yeah, I know, I have a nice ass.
It's not really conservative apparel that people wear here, but you try not to let it distract you. You try to, keep your eyes on the water.
An exceptionally efficient lifeguard staff practices the newest techniques in water rescue.
We had a swimmer in distress. She got pushed in by a wave. She was safe. Everything was all good. Jersey Shore show has definitely attracted a lot of out-of-state people, a lot of like bennies up north. So we have a lot of people that don't know how to swim, so we go on a lot of rescues.
There's a big variety, actually. You got your rockers, you got your gangster kids, you got your juice bags. Juice bags are those gorilla-looking guys. I'm a semi-juice bag.
Parents can really relax as they cast only an occasional glance at their children, who are busy with projects of their own.
And the kids are still all right. Not only thanks to the presence of the trusty Beach Patrol, but because in most every shore town, families remain a consistent presence along the ocean. For Seaside in particular, it's all about embracing a diverse beach experience.
Seaside Heights is really the place where the two different groups of the Jersey Shore come together. On one hand, you have the party crowd, and the other side you have, families.
Basically, this is the spot right now where the nightlife and the partying comes together with the family aspect.
Cruising on down the coast of New Jersey, another lesser-known aspect of shore culture that has tied people together for generations is the surfing scene. Interest in riding the Eastern Breakers really took off in the early 60s thanks to a tiny little board shack on Long Beach Island started by a surfer named Ron DeMena. You may know him and his eventual empire by another name, Ron John. Today, people of all ages surf the shore year-round. In LBI alone, there are 11 surf shops in a 9-mile radius. From the early days of homemade boards, surfing has grown into a $7 billion a year industry, with northeastern surf shops accounting for about 1/3 of that business.
There's surfing up and down the Jersey Shore. It's 129 miles from Cape May to Sandy Hook. And, every one of these towns has something different.
Long Beach Island is one of the most beautiful islands in the state. The waves are definitely what makes surfing here stand out.
Without the boardwalk, without the casinos, why do you come here? You come here for the water. I mean, geographically, it's centralized. It's an island. It sticks out. I mean, we're fortunate enough to pick up waves from all kind of different directions.
The winter's crazy. You just get harder winds, colder weather, colder water, and all those things put together. It's like you will lose your mind because there's nobody here. There's 3 bars open and there's a girl with a peg leg playing pool or something like that. But you can get some of the best days of your life. I don't think it's better or worse than anywhere else, but people here just take a lot of pride in that.
Welcome to Brighton Beach Surf Shop. This is our home, this is our business, this is where we've been for 40-some-odd years.
Mike Moshevsky grew up riding the waves of LBI and runs a local surf shop with his dad, Rick, who is himself a local surfing legend. Along with Ron John, Rick built some of the first boards ever on the East Coast.
This was made probably in '63, '64. In the early 60s, they didn't know exactly what they were doing. They were just following each other's footsteps and just making boards.
Through the 60s, everybody wanted California boards, but your dad was shaping out here. I think that's really cool. He's a Jersey guy.
Well, first of all, I didn't have a California board. I was building my own at the time. So I started building boards and putting the California labels on, and nobody knew the difference. Ron John was the first surf shop on LBI. The fourth was me. They all came, they all left, and I'm still here.
LBI legend Rick Moshevsky's Hall of Fame surfing career goes all the way back to the 1940s, when he made his first board from a drawing in Popular Mechanics magazine. By the time he followed Ron John into business years later, Rick was still one of the only surfers on the island.
At that time, I never saw a surfboard on Long Beach Island, but the wife and I would go down and fool around with the surfboard on the beach. And people would come down and say, well, what's that? And I would tell them it's a surfboard. They'd come down, watch us, and clap for us. We didn't do anything spectacular, but we were out there on this piece of wood,
50 years ago, being forced to ride a heavy wood plank wasn't the only difference that made shore surfing harder and more dangerous.
When you see shots of the older surfers, a lot of times they're bigger guys because they were the guys that could carry the board. Now, boards are light, they're made of different stuff. It's changed who does it and how easy it is. The reality is that East Coast waves break differently than West Coast waves. If you want to buy a board for the East Coast, you want to go to a guy that understands where you're surfing, how you're surfing. It just makes for a better surfboard.
I sold surfboards to people who now had sons having a surfboard. And they walk and say, man, thank you for teaching me how to surf and all this kind of jazz. And it's rewarding that way, It really is.
Seaside's coastal neighbor Belmar is another beach destination where family fun is the main attraction. But for singles looking to mingle and have a ball, there's definitely still room to play.
We're not really out here to play paddleball. It's more about just hitting the balls at the women so we have an icebreaker.
Here, everyone can enjoy the sun and surf in his own time and in his own way.
Back in the day, they had a little bit of an advantage because I think there was a point where you could drink on this beach. Now you're not allowed to drink any alcohol on this beach. You get a ticket for that.
Ah, yes, a different, more innocent time where you could drink on the beach, you could even smoke on the beach. Not anymore. But there are some aspects where boy meets girl remain consistent. Mainly the fact that you gotta actually talk to them, even if different times call for different styles.
Back in the day, my pops had a movie, he actually told me about something. Like, if there was a group of girls, he would walk by and pretend he was like selling something. He'd be like, hey, I'm selling these for charity, for an old person's home down the street. That was his movie. That was pretty good.
Matt.
Christina. Did you guys just try to figure this out playing paddleball?
No. We're just playing.
Yeah, all right. So where are you guys going today?
I don't know. What's
DJs?
Like DJs or bar? Yeah.
DJ's happy hour, definitely.
So what are you guys gonna do now?
We're heading back by the house.
Something? There?
Sure. Why not? Yeah.
Okay, mission accomplished. The party has officially started, which means it's time to hit the shore house.
As far as partying right now, it takes a couple steps off the beach to party in all the shore houses that are basically 2 or 3 blocks away. Just everyone's just there looking for a good time. It's pretty wild.
Like the beach house, it's where it all happens, man. It's where pregame, it's where it goes down. It's good.
Were you feeling our paddleball skills?
Yeah.
They were amazing.
They work out.
Oh my God.
Boom, Joe, we back.
Yeah, we back.
I'm so glad you're doing
Atlantic City's a shore town that's definitely seen some changes from then to now, and a lot of the sights are for the better.
A lot of people don't consider Atlantic City part of the Jersey Shore, and that's because it's just so big with nightlife. There's plenty of things to do up and down the shore, but Atlantic City is a definite must-stop when you're staying.
This is the Jersey Shore.
Then and now. And now we're going out.
How much salt water is in a piece of authentic Atlantic City saltwater taffy? Is it A, 3 grams, B, 1 gram, C, 12 grams, or D, none? Find out when we come back.
Not so many years ago, this eastern seashore city with its spectacular skyline was an obscure little fishing village. Today, Atlantic City stands preeminent among the great resorts of the world.
I'm Blake Conte. I work at Steel Pier Helicopters off the Steel Pier in Atlantic City on the boardwalk. I literally and figuratively give people a different vantage point of Atlantic City as a shore town.
From this vantage point, Atlantic City's spectacular skyline stretches out in all its grandeur.
Atlantic City still has an impressive skyline greeting its nearly 35 million annual tourists. But back as far as the 20s and 30s, visitors to Steel Pier Amusements certainly weren't able to buy a ticket on a helicopter ride and see it quite so up close and personal. They were, however, lucky enough to see a horse jumping into the ocean from a diving board. Well, at least animal rights activists are glad to know that the wow factor attractions of Steel Pier have evolved from the era now popularized in HBO's Boardwalk Empire, as has the face of AC's overall shoreline, thanks to the 1970s rise and more recent resurgence of the 11 mega casino resorts located here, which together have over 17,000 rooms.
I love how Atlantic City offers all the normal shore things, but has that bigger, wider range to make it its own thing. Atlantic City, when it hits nights, you have the clubs and the casinos, and it drives in a much wider range of people.
Visitors to Atlantic City come from every state and from many foreign countries.
We'll have, a few kids that come off the beach, and then next we have some, high roller gamblers coming in, and then we have Hindu grandparents that don't even speak English. And this is what makes the Jersey Shore as a whole so great.
It may seem odd that Atlantic City is left out of most Jersey Shore love fests, considering its start in the 1850s as one of the first vacation destinations on the eastern seaboard. Let's check its shore town stats. For starters, AC's got an awesome 5-mile boardwalk on the beach. In fact, the shore's first boardwalk was built in Atlantic City. And as far as great amusement piers go, Steel Pier first opened in 1898 and rocks without even getting into the helicopter ride. There's plenty of picturesque beach, and Atlantic City is the home of a uniquely tasty treat that's been a favorite for generations. Sounds like the shore to me.
Can't talk about the Jersey Shore without talking about saltwater taffy. Saltwater taffy was started in Atlantic City in 1880 by the James Saltwater Taffy Company.
Thank you so much. I used to get this all the time at Coney Island, and now they don't sell it anymore, so I'm glad I found this here.
We've been around here since 1880.
I'm the 4th generation of my family in the candy industry. I grew up in this factory. I've been making taffy since I was a little boy.
Through the years, the popularity of a shore must-get treat will sometimes change. For every cotton candy then, there's a fried Oreo now to take its place. But James's saltwater taffy has stood the test of time. The biggest difference is not in the taffy itself, but how quickly it gets out the door to the throngs who come to the shore looking for it. That's a good problem to have.
People from every part of the world come here to visit Atlantic City, and of course they have to go home with a box of saltwater taffy.
Along with being an institution in its own right, James's saltwater taffy helped support the growth of another historic and colorful Atlantic City institution back in the roaring 20s, the crowning of Miss America. And while that crowning now takes place in Las Vegas, the legendary competition will forever be a part of Atlantic City's story.
Once each year, the eyes of the nation focus on the Miss America Pageant, which is inaugurated with a colorful parade down the 7-mile boardwalk.
The Miss America pageant, of course, was one of the traditions here in Atlantic City, and the James Saltwater Taffy Company was the oldest participant in the parade. And we always used to pride ourselves that the taffy girls on our floats were always the prettiest in the parade.
James's Taffy Girls were a perfect example of what has made Atlantic City stand out for over a century from the otherwise quaint vibe shared by the larger Jersey Shore community. It's always been just a little bigger and more colorful. Whether it's the towering casinos of today or yesteryear's beautiful bombshells of the Miss America contest, which started in 1921. That year, the first ever winner took home a 3-foot Golden Mermaid trophy.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, 9 stone 2 of slender youth.
And speaking of taking home a Golden Mermaid...
Hi, my name's Katie, and I'm the resident mermaid for Tropicana in Atlantic City. I'm from South Jersey, a couple minutes outside Atlantic City, and this is by far the nightlife capital of the East Coast. I mean, there's always something to do.
No matter where you go, you will find no other city that offers such a variety of accommodations and such an endless list of things to do.
A lot of people don't consider Atlantic City part of the Jersey Shore. It's just so big with nightlife that it's not so much with the relaxed style of the shore. It brings a lot of excitement to it that you don't necessarily think of.
The very name Atlantic City suggests wholesome play.
And for me, as a mermaid, this is the only place I'd want to be taken out on a date. Buy me a nice pearl necklace, some jewelry, a bouquet of seaweed.
She likes men for their brains and says she'd even marry a midget if he were a mental giant.
Between the saltwater taffy, the boardwalk, the beach, all the amenities, there's plenty of things to do up and down the shore, but Atlantic City is a definite must-stop when you're sick.
Moving up the Parkway in New Jersey, get a ticket to Funtown and ride along with a local family who's seen the shore change from one little food stand to a typhoon of excitement.
It was the most awesome ride I've ever seen in my entire life.
This is the Jersey Shore, then and now.
Young, old.
Which one of these celebrities was not born at the shore? Is it A, Bruce Springsteen, B, Kirsten Dunst, C, Danny DeVito, or D, Fergie? Find out when we come back.
Tuffy is the only bear in the world who climbs a 50-foot ladder by himself.
Back in the day, it took some crazy stunts to wow the Jersey Shore crowd. Now, modern-day technology lets the rides do all the work. Hold on tight. For the millions of visitors to the New Jersey Shore each year, Atlantic City Steel Pier is not the only place to hit if you're looking for some amusement pier excitement. Part theme park by the sea, part oceanside carnival, the games and rides of the Jersey Shore's numerous pier attractions provide the beaches and boardwalks with a constant soundtrack of fun. Starting on the South Shore with the 77 rides of Maury's Pier in the Wildwoods, and moving further north to the 72 rides of the Casino and Funtown Piers in Seaside.
While people are still heading toward the beach, another attraction is proving almost irresistible, especially to the youngsters. as the fun town and casino pier signs beckon the visitor into a world of light and color.
To get a real sense of the changes from then to now at a pier like Funtown, as well as its importance to the overall shore experience, there's no one better to ask than the people for whom it is truly a family affair.
Welcome to Funtown Pier. It's a great part of the Jersey Shore and a very great part of our lives. My parents came to Seaside Heights from Paterson, New Jersey, almost 45 years ago. Actually, where we're standing in Funtown, this is kind of where it all started for Seaside Heights. And it all started, believe it or not, with one little merry-go-round. The next summer, there was a hot dog stand, and over time, it just built up. This is truly what the Jersey Shore is really about. The kids love the rides. Started out with the really small rides when they were infants, and now it's trying the new thrill rides.
The high rides, representing the very peak of excitement, are imported from all over the world.
Mom took you on Typhoon? Okay.
But she said she wouldn't recommend it for you.
She wouldn't recommend it for me? Nope. I'm gonna have to go on it now.
It's almost like you're climbing like Mount Everest. When you go up, it starts to turn.
Am I gonna be able to open my eyes?
Probably not.
No. This is it, moment of truth. Whose idea was this, yours or mine?
Kind of pop out of your seat when you go up.
What do you think?
I love it. It's gonna make me throw up, but I love it. Everybody was screaming and shouting, but it was the most awesome ride I've ever seen in my entire life.
The rip-roaring Typhoon is sure a long way from that first wooden merry-go-round that started it all back in 1915. And with today's games like Toss the Football that can cost you up to $5, it's hard to believe there was once a section of the boardwalk where everything was just a nickel.
Way back, even before I was a kid, it used to be called the Nickel Pier. Everything was a nickel.
5 cents will go a long way on the nickel pier. Here, too, skillful playing is rewarded by exciting prizes. No park is complete without the ever-popular Ferris wheel.
I even know guys in my fire company. Remember when this whole amusement pier caught fire in 1955.
That's sad.
And they remember when the casino pier caught fire in 1965, too. We're not very far from that other Jersey Shore that people seem to know about, but this is the real Jersey Shore.
Speaking of that other Jersey Shore, it's true that more people than ever are pumping their fist at the thought of hanging at the Jersey Shore.
So when the music comes on, you just want to move your fist.
But back in the day, they were putting a different twist on things.
Chubby Checker, for the first time in 1960, did the twist at the Rainbow Club.
In 1957, Dick Clark's American Bandstand was broadcast from what shore town? Was it A, Atlantic City, B, Point Pleasant, C, Wildwood, or D, Asbury Park? Find out on the flip side.
You got it, bada bing, bada bang.
After dark, the spirit of fun and exhilaration increases in tempo.
By now, it should be clear, coming from those in the know,
Yeah, it's definitely fun. It's a good time.
that then and now, the Jersey Shore has always been a great place to hang out for some fun, sun, and relaxation. And it's a great place if you want to pump it up.
I love Jersey. Like, someone would come up to me at a bar and be like, New York's awesome. And I'd be like, that's true, but New Jersey's even better.
I feel like that's what draws people here. No matter who you are, there's something to do.
But obviously, the shore didn't just start rocking when fist pumping got popular. Most everyone knows about the massive shadow cast over music history by Bruce Springsteen and his E Street Band. And we all know where E Street is, right? No? Well, keep watching. But even before Bruce, way back at the dawn of rock and roll, there was nowhere cooler than the Jersey Shore, especially in the South Shore area known as the Wildwood, which was built in the 1890s and is visited today by more than 10 million people annually. And today, for a blast of that rockin' past, there's one place you've gotta go to get the scoop, with a cherry on top.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cool Scoops Ice Cream Parlor in North Wildwood.
My mom's been coming here since she was younger. My grandparents have been coming here since they were younger. It's a long family history of people coming to Wildwood.
It's the coolest place at the Jersey Shore, and people come to enjoy Cool Scoops and, of course, the musical history of the Wildwoods.
Longtime locals of this area lay claim to Wildwood being the true birthplace of rock and roll, and they've got some pretty strong credentials to back it up.
Many, many artists and stars had their start here in Wildwood in the 50s and 60s. It's where Bill Haley and the Comets did Rock Around the Clock for the first time in 1954 at the Hofbrau. After that, Chubby Checker followed with the Twist in 1960 at the Rainbow Club.
So basically, like back then, people would always do the twist and like look at each other on the dance floor and just start dancing. But now everyone's grinding up on each other. It's practically like you're having sex on the dance floor.
Things haven't changed too much. I know like the twist to now is a little bit different, but if you take any house song, a dance song now, and look at the 1920 dance to Charleston, they're gonna flow really well together. So it hasn't really changed that much, but definitely between the twist and the grinding, there's a lot more of the grinding now.
The dance moves you'll see on a Saturday night down at the shore have definitely changed through the years, and so have the fashion choices.
People lined up in suits and ties and hats.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they were all dressed to the nines. Nowadays, it's a little different. It's party atmosphere.
Everyone now, I feel like, wants to stand out. They need to be that person that everyone is looking at.
They get like dragons and just like distorted faces maybe, and they're shiny like silver, and they're fluorescent too a lot of the time, so it's good.
Especially with girls, now they just try to get a guy with their body practically.
Everybody else is looking good, so you gotta look good.
The Beachcomber is one of several nightclubs where during the later evening hours, you'll find a convivial atmosphere and top entertainment which is booked into the club from all over the country.
Most people don't use the word convivial anymore, but if they did, DJ's Nightclub in Belmar, New Jersey would be that place now.
Whenever you're going to DJ's, the talent, fantastic. DJ's is probably one of the best bars down the shore. It's gotta be like the Hall of Fame. Yeah.
And that's thanks to Frank Cementa and Kip Connor, the current owners of DJ's who started out at this very venue in the early 70s as rock and roll bandmates in a popular shore band called Home. Back then, the music scene in Belmar was a very different place.
You know, in those days, there were so many more places that hired bands. I think that's why the music scene exploded here in the late 60s, early 70s, because there were so many places to play.
Frank and Kip didn't know it then, but the Jersey Shore's place in rock history was being further cemented. All they knew was the fun they had playing after-hour spots with other musician kids for breakfast the next morning. One of those kids was Bruce Springsteen, who would go on to memorialize Shoretown Asbury Park and its legendary venues like Stone Pony and Wonder Bar. What isn't as well known is that Bruce's E Street Band started in Frank and Kip's town of, you guessed it, Belmar, New Jersey. And that Belmar was no easy gig for the boss.
Bruce played here a couple times, Springsteen, before we did, actually.
They were so excited to play here because it was kind of a famous bar, and they got through the weekend thinking, wow, we wowed the crowd. People love this, people love this. And on Sunday night, it came time to get paid, and as Terry was paying him, he said, I got bad news for you. The owner doesn't want you back because you didn't sell enough beer.
We moved a lot of beer, so we were good at that, so we figured it out, yeah.
Look, don't cry for poor Bruce. He did okay for himself. And rock, from bands young and old, lives on to this day at the shore. In fact, Home still plays every Monday. But back in the late 70s, Frank and Kip started taking trips after weekend gigs to New York's disco hotspots like Studio 54. There, they caught a glimpse of the future of nightlife and the wheels started turning. Maybe this dance thing could be big down the shore at DJ's.
Our big insight very early on was that disco doesn't suck. You know, we realized that the kids that were digging our music would then go into the disco room, as they were called in those days, and have a good time dancing to that music.
Perhaps you like rock and roll. Or perhaps your taste runs to a somewhat more sophisticated act.
The music is awesome. Woo! It's awesome, baby.
If a rock song has a good beat to it, you know, you can dance to it. But house music just has that beat to it.
Define this region, but you certainly can't leave it out of the conversation either.
Because of the Jersey Shore cast, yeah, it's definitely really popular, but even if they weren't here.
The shore is definitely a good place to dance and have a good time, right, Jen?
Yep.
40 years ago, young people from all around the country might specifically come to the shore hoping to get a glimpse of rock royalty. Now, they're coming ready to pump it up at famous clubs like DJ's and Karma in Seaside.
When you go out now and you're at the Jersey Shore, there's really no other way to dance. When the music comes on, you just want to move your fist.
You want a little fist pumping demonstration? And then you get like the leg in it.
Yeah, the fist pump, kids started doing that here. And I think if you see rock concerts, people are fist pumping.
You just want to fist pump.
Because it's the new age music. Makes you want to have fun. I mean, everybody comes here for that culture, for that attitude that you expect when you come down here.
When we come back.
This is the first time we've done anything like this, and Grace suggested it last night at 11:30.
Obviously, no true beach vacation is complete until you've built a sandcastle. Along the Jersey coast, this is taken very seriously, as seen by the annual Belmar competition. Started back in 1987, the event had a whopping 10 participants. 25 summers later, there are hundreds of sculptures rising from the picturesque sands of Belmar Beach. And yes, I did say sculptures, for these are true works of art.
When the sandcastle competition started, it was a smaller event with amateur construction. Today we have at least 3 professional sand sculptors here, along with the 7- and 8-year-olds who are also building theirs.
I started making sandcastles when I was a little kid, and now I'm getting serious about it. This is a sand turtle, a sea sand turtle.
A miniature golf, a ripped beast attacking a castle.
This is the first time we've done anything, and Grace suggested it last night at 11:30.
Sand is a fun medium because it's not permanent. You kind of have to just be focused. You have to be in the moment. You only have a certain amount of time before the water dries out and it turns back into dust.
People put great passion build Maria.
Beach category. Drum roll, please. Old school Belmar.
Okay, we've covered a whole bunch of fun things to do, see, and eat. And like the shore on Memorial Day weekend, we're really just warming up. Now, let me ask the question again. What is it about the Jersey Shore that makes this place so frickin' amazing? The answer's not in the differences, although those sure are fun to see. The real answer is in the similarities. It's the tradition, whether on the beaches, the boardwalks, or the boats on the bay. It's parents sharing the same fun rides and treats with their kids that their parents shared with them. It's the mix of laid-back cool and excitement, whether you're catching some waves on LBI or taking in some Atlantic City nightlife. And finally, it's the variety of interesting people.
The shore is definitely a good place to dance and have a good time, right, Jen?
Yep.
This is what keeps those in the know coming back year after year. This is the New Jersey then and now.